Have you ever wondered what happens when someone becomes so rich and powerful, they forget they're still human? This is the story of a billionaire who brutally kicked a dying homeless woman on the street without realizing she was his own mother. What happened next will haunt you forever. It's a painful reminder that some mistakes can never be undone. This story will shatter everything you believe about success, family, and forgiveness. And by the end, you'll learn the most expensive lessons in life don't cost money, but they can cost you everything. Like, share and subscribe, because what you're about to hear will forever change how you see every beggar, every forgotten soul, and every homeless face you pass on the street. The rain was falling hard on the busy streets of Lagos when Marcus Johnson stepped out of his golden Rolls Royce. At 35, he was Nigeria's youngest oil tycoon, worth over $2 billion. His shoes cost more than what most people made in a year. His watch could buy a house. But what happened in the next 5 minutes would strip away everything he thought he knew about himself. Marcus had just left a meeting where he fired 200 workers to save money. He felt nothing. To him, people were just numbers on a paper. As he walked toward his favorite restaurant, his phone rang. "Sir, your mother called again," said Lisa, his assistant. "She wants to see you." Marcus stopped walking. His jaw tightened. "I told you never to mention that woman to me again." "But sir," she said, "it's urgent. She's been trying to reach you for months. Delete her number. Block her everywhere. I don't have a mother." He hung up and threw his phone into his car. But Marcus was lying. He did have a mother. Her name was Rose. 20 years ago, she had cleaned offices and washed clothes to send him to school. She sold her jewelry to pay for his university fees. She went hungry so he could eat. But Marcus had erased her from his life the moment he got rich. As Marcus walked down the street, his mind was angry and dark. He was thinking about the board meeting tomorrow where he would announce more job cuts. He was thinking about his new mansion and his new girlfriend who only loved his money. He wasn't paying attention to anything around him. That's when he saw her. An old woman was sitting on the ground near a small food stand. Her clothes were torn and dirty. Her hands were shaking as she tried to count a few coins. She looked up at Marcus with tired, hopeful eyes. "Please, sir," she whispered. "I haven't eaten in 2 days. Just 20 naira for bread." Marcus looked down at her with disgust. "Get away from me, you dirty beggar. Go beg somewhere else." The woman didn't move. "Please, sir, I'm not asking for much. Just enough for food." Something inside Marcus snapped. All his anger from the phone call, all his frustration from the meeting, all his hate for being reminded of his past came rushing out. "I said get away from me." He grabbed the woman by her arm and pulled her up roughly. "You people make me sick. Always begging, always lazy." "Sir, please don't hurt me," the woman cried. But Marcus was beyond listening. He pushed her hard against the wall. The woman fell to the ground, her coins scattering everywhere. Blood started to flow from her head where she hit the concrete. "That's what you get for bothering your betters," Marcus spat. A crowd began to gather. People were taking out their phones, recording everything. But Marcus didn't care. He was rich. He was powerful. Nothing could touch him. "Someone call an ambulance," a young man shouted as he knelt beside the bleeding woman. "No need," Marcus said coldly. "She's probably faking it for more money." That's when a police officer named James pushed through the crowd. James was Marcus's age, but unlike Marcus, he had never forgotten where he came from. He grew up in the same poor neighborhood, but he chose to serve people instead of using them. "What happened here?" James demanded. "This beggar was bothering me," Marcus said casually. "I was just protecting myself." James looked at the small, injured woman on the ground, then at the tall, strong Marcus in his expensive suit. "Protecting yourself? From a grandmother who weighs less than your shoes cost? Do you know who I am?" Marcus pulled out his wallet. "I'm Marcus Johnson. I can buy this entire street. I can buy you." James stared at Marcus for a long moment. "I know exactly who you are. And that makes this even worse." Something about the way James said those words made Marcus pause. There was something familiar about this police officer, but he couldn't place it. "Sir, we need to get this woman to a hospital," said Dr. Sarah, who had rushed over from the nearby clinic. She was a young doctor who ran a free medical center for poor people. "She has a serious head injury." As Dr. Sarah knelt beside the woman, she gasped, "Oh my God! Mrs. Rose? Is that you?" The injured woman looked up weakly. "Sarah? My dear Sarah?" Marcus felt his blood turn to ice. "Rose. That name. It couldn't be." "Mrs. Rose, what happened to you?" Dr. Sarah asked gently. "You used to be so strong, so proud. Why are you on the streets?" "My son," Rose whispered. "I lost my job 2 years ago. I've been looking for my son Marcus. He became rich and successful, but he won't see me. I heard he lives around here, so I came to wait for him. I've been waiting for months." Marcus felt like he was going to be sick. This couldn't be happening. This dirty, broken woman couldn't be his mother. His mother was supposed to be back in their village, living comfortably with the money he sent her lawyers years ago. "Ma'am, what's your son's full name?" James asked quietly. "Marcus Johnson," Rose said with pride even through her pain. "He's a big businessman now. He's probably too important to remember his old mother, but I just wanted to see him one more time before I die." The crowd went silent. Everyone turned to look at Marcus. His face had gone completely white. James stepped closer to Marcus. "So this is your mother. The woman who raised you. The woman who sacrificed everything so you could become rich. And you just kicked her and left her bleeding on the street." Marcus couldn't speak. His whole world was spinning. This couldn't be real. This had to be a nightmare. "You're lying," Marcus finally whispered. "My mother is dead." "No, son," Rose said softly, trying to sit up. "I'm very much alive. I've been alive and looking for you for 2 years. Ever since I lost my job and my house, I've been sleeping on the streets, hoping to find you." Dr. Sarah looked at Marcus with horror. "You mean you knew this was your mother and you still hurt her?" "No. I didn't know. I wouldn't have. I never." Marcus was stumbling over his words. "But you would have done it to someone else's mother?" James asked. "You would have beaten up someone else's grandmother and felt nothing?" Marcus had no answer for that. Because it was true. He had felt nothing when he thought she was someone else's mother. He had felt nothing when he thought she was just another poor person who didn't matter. "I need to take her to the hospital immediately," Dr. Sarah said. "She's losing too much blood." As the ambulance arrived, Rose looked up at Marcus one more time. "I forgive you, my son. I still love you." Those words hit Marcus like a bullet to the heart. Even after he had hurt her, even after he had abandoned her, even after he had treated her like garbage, she still loved him. As the ambulance drove away with his mother inside, Marcus stood alone in the rain. The crowd had dispersed. His expensive suit was soaked. His perfect hair was ruined. But for the first time in years, Marcus Johnson felt something real. He felt shame. But what happened next would change everything. Because Marcus was about to discover a secret about his mother that would turn his entire world upside down. A secret that would make him question everything he thought he knew about his past, his success, and the woman who had given up everything for him. The story was just beginning, and the truth was about to shatter Marcus Johnson's heart into a million pieces. Marcus sat in the hospital waiting room, his head in his hands. 3 hours had passed since the ambulance took his mother away. 3 hours of the worst guilt he had ever felt in his life. But he had no idea that the real shock was still coming. Dr. Sarah walked out of the emergency room, her face serious. Behind her came James, the police officer who had witnessed everything. They both sat down across from Marcus. "How is she?" Marcus asked quietly. She's stable, Dr. Sarah said. But Marcus, we need to talk. There are things about your mother that you don't know. Things that will change everything. Marcus looked up. What do you mean? James leaned forward. Do you remember me, Marcus? We went to primary school together in Mushin. You, me, and my sister Janet. Marcus stared at James's face. Slowly, memories started coming back. James Adebayo? From Mrs. Okoli's class. That's right. And you know what? Your mother Rose has been taking care of my sick sister Janet for the past 2 years. Free of charge. Even when she had nothing herself. Marcus felt confused. I don't understand. Taking care of her how? Dr. Sarah pulled out a folder. Marcus, your mother has been working at my free clinic. Not for money, because we don't have money to pay anyone. She volunteers there every single day, helping sick people who can't afford real hospitals. That's impossible, Marcus said. She's been living on the streets. She was begging for food. She lives on the streets by choice, James said. Because she gives away every penny she gets to people who need it more than her. She sleeps outside so that families with children can have the few shelter spaces available. Marcus's world started spinning again. You're lying. She was begging me for money. She wasn't begging for herself, Dr. Sarah said softly. She was trying to buy medicine for a little girl who was dying. The girl's parents couldn't afford it. Your mother was trying to raise money to save someone else's child. The folder in Dr. Sarah's hands was thick with papers. She opened it and showed Marcus dozens of photos. Pictures of his mother feeding hungry children. Pictures of her cleaning wounds for people who couldn't afford doctors. Pictures of her teaching kids how to read under a bridge. She's been doing this for 2 years, Dr. Sarah continued. Ever since she lost her job and her house. Instead of being bitter, instead of being angry, she decided to help people who were worse off than her. Marcus stared at the photos. In every single one, his mother was smiling. Even though she was poor, even though she was hungry, even though her own son had abandoned her, she was smiling. But why? Marcus whispered. Why would she do all this? James smiled sadly. Because that's who she is. That's who she's always been. She told everyone at the clinic that she was proud of her son, the billionaire. She said you were probably too busy changing the world to visit her, but she understood. She was proud of me? Marcus felt tears starting to form. Even after I abandoned her? She never stopped talking about you, Dr. Sarah said. She told everyone how smart you were, how hard you worked, how you were going to make the world better for people like us. Marcus put his head in his hands. I fired 200 people today. I was planning to fire 500 more tomorrow. I haven't made the world better. I've made it worse. There's more, James said quietly. Your mother is sick, Marcus. Very sick. Marcus looked up quickly. What do you mean sick? Dr. Sarah took a deep breath. She has cancer. Stage 4. She's been hiding it for months because she didn't want to worry anyone. She's been using the little money she gets to buy medicine, but it's not enough. The room went silent. Marcus felt like he couldn't breathe. How long does she have? He asked. Without proper treatment? Maybe 3 months. With the right care and medicine? Maybe a year, possibly more. Marcus stood up suddenly. Then get her the best doctors. The best hospital. Money is no problem. Marcus, sit down, James said gently. There's something else. Marcus sat back down, his hands shaking. Your mother made us promise something, Dr. Sarah said. If anything ever happened to her, if she ever got too sick to continue, she wanted us to give you this. She handed Marcus a small, worn envelope. His name was written on it in his mother's handwriting. Marcus opened the envelope with trembling fingers. Inside was a letter and an old, faded photo. The photo showed a young woman holding a baby. Marcus recognized his mother immediately, but she looked so young, so full of hope. He began to read the letter. "My dearest Marcus, if you are reading this, it means I am no longer able to tell you these words myself. I want you to know that every day of my life has been worth it because I got to be your mother. You were never a burden. You were never a mistake. You were the greatest gift God ever gave me. I know you think I sacrificed everything for you, but you're wrong. You gave me everything. You gave me purpose. You gave me love. You gave me a reason to wake up every morning. I'm not angry that you haven't visited. I understand that successful people have important things to do. I just hope that someday you'll remember that the most important things in life aren't things at all. I saved every newspaper article about your company. I cut out every photo of you. I showed them to everyone who would listen. That's my son, I would say. He's going to change the world. If something happens to me, don't blame yourself. Don't let guilt destroy the beautiful life you've built. Instead, remember that you have the power to help people. You have the power to be the son I always knew you could be. All my love, forever and always, Mama." Marcus finished reading and broke down completely. All the walls he had built around his heart came crashing down. He cried like he hadn't cried since he was a child. "She never stopped believing in you," James said softly. "Even when you stopped believing in yourself." Marcus wiped his eyes and stood up. "I need to see her. I need to tell her I'm sorry." "She's sleeping now," Dr. Sarah said. "But Marcus, when she wakes up, she's going to need you. Not your money. You. The son she raised. The son she's been waiting for." Marcus nodded. "What can I do? How can I fix this?" "You can start by being the man she always believed you were," James said. "You can start by remembering that every person on those streets is someone's child. Someone's mother. Someone's father." Marcus looked out the hospital window at the city below. Somewhere out there were people like his mother. People who were struggling, people who were hungry, people who had given up hope. And for the first time in years, Marcus felt something he had forgotten existed. He felt love. Real love. Not for money or power or success, but for the woman who had given him everything and asked for nothing in return. "I'm going to change," Marcus said quietly. "I'm going to be better." "Your mother always knew you would," Dr. Sarah smiled. "She never stopped believing in the good man she raised." As Marcus sat by his mother's bedside that night, holding her hand and promising to be the son she deserved, he realized something that would stay with him forever. True wealth wasn't measured in money. It was measured in love. And thanks to his mother, Marcus Johnson was the richest man in the world. Did this story touch your heart? Sometimes it takes losing everything to realize what truly matters. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that remind us that love is the greatest treasure of all.